600 years ago, a man named Wilfred Vermilia was born with the unique power to nullify all forms of magic. Wielding this unmatched ability, he stood alone against the demon lord and succeeded in subjugating him. Time passed, and the world entered the golden age of magic. Yet, in this era ruled by sorcery, the hero's power of magic destruction still stood in contrast to it all. A young boy named Yahello struggles during a magic attribute test, but quickly stands back up, determined to try again. His father harshly urges him not to fail, while others note that if he succeeds, he will be able to study magic alongside his brothers. Yahello tries to prove himself as a worthy magic user expected to uphold the Vermilia name. Suddenly, the people around him begin collapsing with strange symptoms, their vision fading. Shock spreads among the onlookers, while an elder denounces the scene as disgraceful. It is revealed that Yahello suffers from oversensitivity to magic. Normally, magic flows within the body, drawing energy from the surroundings and being refined into spells. However, his body cannot handle the excess, causing it to reject the magic inside him. This condition makes spellcasting unstable and difficult, as its accuracy depends on how much magic a person can control. Yahello's father realizes that his son might naturally hold too much magic, linking it to the immense power within him. He then reveals the painful truth that this power came at the cost of Yahello's mother's life. After giving birth, Yuna passed away, leaving her children in sorrow. Her husband confirmed her death, stating she had drawn her last breath. Despite this tragedy, the newborn was declared healthy, and even without a formal appraisal, it was clear that his magical power far exceeded that of his siblings. The newborn's immense magical power is revealed to have originally belonged to Yuna. This frightening strength was passed to him at the cost of her life, leaving behind both her legacy and sacrifice. Yahello's father declares that his son's immense magic is the price paid for Yuna's life. Despite being the third son, Yahello was once considered as the next head of the family, yet now he is scorned for failing to control the very power he inherited. Yahello's father harshly declares that those unable to use magic have no value in the Vermilia household, comparing them to mere livestock. Despite objections from the tutor, his words leave Yahello stunned and heartbroken. Yahello's father prepares to brand him with a mark of disgrace, declaring him useless. One of his brothers pleads for it to stop, while another, filled with resentment, demands the punishment continue, blaming Yahello for their mother's death. Overwhelmed by despair, Yahello breaks down in tears, feeling abandoned by everyone around him. His father begins a ritual, casting a magic circle beneath him, sealing Yahello's fate with a mark of shame. Yahello is branded with a humiliating mark, symbolizing his rejection. His father declares that the Vermilia name carries the legacy of heroes, demanding strength, bravery, and magic to protect the nation. Yahello is condemned as unworthy, shamed for being unable to wield magic. Yahello, now marked as powerless, is challenged by his father to prove his value through his own actions. Left to question his fate, he is pushed to decide what he will accomplish with the body and life he still has. 5 years later, Yahello, now 10 years old, trains diligently in sword combat. Though he loses often, he keeps track of his record, showing his persistence and growth through constant practice and determination. Yahello continues his relentless training under Mrs. Sarah, a former imperial swordswoman. Aware that magic will never be his path, he devotes himself entirely to swordsmanship, refusing to let his condition hold him back. His progress impresses Sarah, who recognizes his determination and growth at such a young age. During training, Yahello focuses on his sword practice, while his brother Quen works on improving his magic control. Proud of his progress, Quen demonstrates his skill by casting a fireball at a target, eager to show the results of his training. Quen's fireball accidentally flies toward Yahello, but he instinctively blocks it with his sword. Everyone is shocked, noticing that he isn't harmed at all, even though the attack came at high speed and from his blind spot. Yahello realizes he had cut Quen's magic apart with his wooden sword. Mrs. Sarah, stunned, recalls the old tale of a legendary hero who could destroy magic itself, wondering if what she witnessed could truly be the same power. Arlan returns home from Rigris's magical academy, where he has excelled in both academics and leadership. His father praises him for becoming class president, proud of his achievements, while the family gathers to welcome him back. Yahello warmly greets his older brother Arlan, who immediately notices his frail appearance. Arlan reminds him to take care of his body and asks about his practice and family relations, showing both concern and a sense of responsibility as the elder sibling. Yahello admits that his father ignores him and that Quen still resents him. Accepting his inability to use magic, he blames himself for their mother's death, carrying guilt that continues to weigh heavily on him. In front of their mother's portrait, Arlan reassures Hollow that he is not to blame for her death. He reminds him that, even without magic, he has a natural talent for the sword and should take pride in it. Arlan affirms that Hollow is his precious younger brother, giving him comfort and encouragement. Arlan notices Hollow's improvement with the sword during his absence and asks if he still trains in the forest, to which Hollow proudly confirms. With determination and a bright smile, Hollow declares that one day he will surpass his older brother. Hollow often visits the forest of Asbel to train and explore. During one of his usual outings, he stumbles upon a hidden location deep within the woods, a secret dungeon concealed in its corners. Hollow discovers the entrance to a dungeon sealed against magic, making it accessible only to someone like him with oversensitivity to magic. Over time, he explores its depths, facing monsters for the first time and honing his sword skills beyond ordinary training. This hidden dungeon becomes the key to his steady improvement. Hollow reaches a sealed gate, radiating magical protection. As he recalls the moment he cut through Quen's fireball, he realizes that his hands may truly possess the power to slice through magic itself. Hollow strikes the sealed gate, cutting through the magical chains that bound it. Shocked by his own power, he wonders what it means for someone unable to use magic to wield the ability to destroy it. Inside the dungeon, Hollow discovers a mysterious sword resting at the center of the sealed chamber. Awestruck, he approaches it, sensing a powerful connection, as if the weapon itself was waiting for him. As Hollow approaches the sword, a mysterious voice suddenly echoes through the chamber. It acknowledges the destruction of the powerful seal and questions how he managed to reach this place, leaving Hollow startled and terrified. Panicked by the voice echoing in his mind, Hollow demands to know who is speaking and where they are hiding. The voice reveals that it is tied to the place's eternal silence and tells him to calm down, instructing him to look directly in front of him at the sword. The voice reveals itself to be the sword, introducing its name as Kasumi, the magic sword. Hollow is astonished, realizing it's his first time seeing a talking sword. Kasumi explains that it once fought alongside a renowned swordsman in great battles, though the reason for its sealing is tied to a long story yet to be told. Kasumi explains that it has been sealed in the dungeon for 600 years, not out of choice but as part of a long trial. Tired of solitude and having witnessed countless conflicts, the sword longs to leave, to journey alongside someone, and to share adventures once more. Hollow reflects with Kasumi on the state of the world. Though conflicts remain, it has become an era ruled by magic, where swords are no longer seen as necessary. Even so, he feels there is still meaning in holding one, hinting at his own place in this age of magic. Hollow comes to a firm realization: if he truly has the ability to cut magic, then he needs a sword to fulfill that role. Remembering his father's words about proving his worth with his own hands, he resolves to use his strength for the sake of others. Hollow, full of determination, asks Kasumi to become his sword, so they can grow stronger and go on adventures together. Though the sword reminds him it is sealed and cannot be pulled out so easily, Hollow's resolve shows he is ready to change both their fates. With a powerful swing, Hollow cuts through the seal, binding Kasumi, astonishing the sword itself. Declaring his name and resolve, he proclaims his goal to become the world's strongest swordsman, even in a world where magic reigns supreme. As the seal is broken, Kasumi transforms from a sword into a human form, introducing herself as the magic sword Kasumi. She warmly greets Hollow as her new swordsman, leaving him stunned and speechless at the unexpected sight. Kasumi confirms she can take on human form, explaining that she is one of the 9 magic swords in existence, though she considers herself a bit more special than the others. Hollow, shocked, realizes there are still 8 more swords like her somewhere in the world. Kasumi explains that among the 9 magic swords, she is the only one capable of taking human form. Since Hollow released her seal, she decides to accompany him, addressing him as her master. Embarrassed, Hollow asks her to simply call him by his name instead, and they begin their partnership. Hollow returns home carrying Kasumi in sword form. When questioned, he introduces himself as the 3rd son of the Vermilia Marquis and explains that he found the sword while training in the armory, hiding the truth of its origin. Hollow's father shows no interest in his pursuit of swordsmanship, dismissing him coldly and telling others to leave him be. Quen, his second brother, mocks him for wasting time. Despite this, Hollow remains cheerful, relieved that at least no one tried to take Kasumi away from him. Hollow brings Kasumi food from the kitchen, unsure if she even needs it. Though she reminds him she is a sword and doesn't require meals, she decides to eat in her human form. Relieved, Hollow happily joins her, sharing a meal together for the first time. As Kasumi tastes the food, she's surprised by the sensation and begins reflecting on an unfamiliar yet warm feeling. Hollow notices her expression and asks what's wrong, but she only smiles, admitting it might be because she has been alone for so long. Kasumi admits that her memories feel hazy, as if they have slowly faded away during her long slumber. Hollow reassures her that they will return with time since she has only just awakened. Smiling brightly, he invites her along, eager to show her his favorite spot. Hollow excitedly leads Kasumi up to a tower, showing her the beautiful view. With a bright smile, he urges her to begin creating memories together from now on. Kasumi gazes at the scenery, touched by his words, and softly agrees. Kasumi observes Hollow's life and learns how neglected he is within his own household. Despite being an aristocrat, he studies alone, sews his own clothes, and lacks assistance because the adults refuse to support him. Still, Hollow stays cheerful, saying it makes meeting Kasumi even more special. Though saddened by how coldly he's treated, Kasumi stays by his side, while Hollow reassures her that everything will be alright. Kasumi dreams of her vow to be Hollow's sword, but is abruptly woken up by him in the morning. Still half asleep, she notices how much Hollow has grown compared to when they first met. Flustered, she realizes she's been slacking off and remembers how quickly humans change with time. Hollow reflects on his growth since meeting Kasumi. Training with her became a daily routine, and through the sword's strange power, he absorbed the skills and experiences of its past users. By practicing these inherited techniques, he steadily advanced, becoming one with the sword. As Hollow approaches his 15th year, Sarah gives him her final lesson. She not only taught him swordsmanship but also the nature of magic itself, every type that exists in their world. Hollow learned to understand and counter these powers, training to fight magic using nothing but a sword. Sarah delivers her final words as Hollow's teacher, acknowledging how difficult his path has been, especially with magic. Yet, she praises his dedication and growth over the past 10 years. With her guidance ending, she asks Hollow if he has decided what path he will take next. Hollow, after finishing his lessons with Mrs. Sarah, reflects on how his brothers are sent to the Royal Palace Academy for training. Instead of following the same path, he gathers his resolve and declares his own wish to become an adventurer. Hollow's declaration to become an adventurer shocks his family. His brothers mock the idea, claiming he can't succeed without magic, while his father grows furious, calling him a disgrace and a failure hidden from the world to protect the family's name. Hollow firmly rejects carrying on the Vermilia family name, despite his father's harsh words, calling him incompetent. He recalls the challenge once given to him to decide what he would make of his own body and chooses to follow his own path. Hollow insists he won't stay confined in the mansion. His father, angered but resolute, declares that if Hollow can defeat his brother Quen in a duel using only sword skills, he will be free to leave the family and live as he wishes. Hollow accepts the challenge with determination, declaring it a promise. Despite warnings that he cannot win against Quen's magic, he leaves confidently, excited at the chance to finally test himself in a fight against magic. Kasumi, who had been hiding, happily congratulates Hollow for standing up for himself. She reminds him that this is his chance to finally leave the house. Still, Hollow worries about the upcoming duel, knowing most of his training has been focused on swordsmanship rather than facing magic directly. Hollow doubts himself, worrying about facing Quen's magic and fearing he may prove useless even with a sword. Kasumi, however, reminds him of his promise to take her outside and go on adventures together, urging him not to back down. Kasumi reassures Hollow, promising to always be by his side and prove his strength. Encouraged, Hollow thanks her and admits he's never spoken so openly about his worries before. With renewed determination, he grips Kasumi tightly, calling on her strength. Hollow prepares for a duel against Quen, despite concerns about the danger of facing magic with only a sword. Their father insists on the fight, wanting to test their true strength. As the battle is about to begin, Quen coldly admits that he has despised Hollow since birth. Quen accuses Hollow of being the reason their mother died, blaming him for taking her away from the family. He recalls how their home was once filled with love, joy, and warmth when she was alive. But ever since her passing, the mansion has been shrouded in darkness, and Hollow's presence only made that contrast sharper. Hollow is reminded of the heavy rumors surrounding his birth. People believed he had taken in all of Lord Yuna's immense magical power, making him a child blessed from the heavens and the Vermilia family's successor. Yet, despite these expectations, he couldn't use a single bit of magic, leaving everyone disappointed. Quen condemns him further, saying not only did he fail them, but he also took their mother away. Quen hurls a fireball at Hollow, keeping him at a distance while taunting him. Hollow analyzes the situation, realizing Quen's tactic is to maintain control of the range, preventing him from getting close. He notes that fireballs travel at consistent speeds and can reach up to 60 meters, making it difficult for him to approach. Quen continues launching fireballs, but Hollow calculates their casting time and trajectory, noting the delay and dependence on the wand's movement. Using this, he swiftly dodges the attacks, predicting their direction and keeping himself safe from the blasts. Quen is shocked as Hollow keeps advancing through the barrage of fireballs. Hollow thinks about the weakness of swords, their short range, but also about the weakness of mages, who must keep distance to control the battle. He realizes that close combat is what magicians fear most, and with determination, he pushes forward to close the gap between them. Hollow charges in recklessly, determined to close the distance, but Quen counters by summoning a towering mud wall. Hollow realizes that Quen is a rare double attribute magic user, capable of wielding both fire and earth, something almost never seen before. Hollow taunts Quen, acknowledging his skill but mocking his lack of flashiness despite being a prodigy from a magic school. Enraged and humiliated, Quen glares furiously, refusing to accept being looked down on by Hollow. Quen launches sand spears and bullets from behind the wall to keep Hollow at bay. Hollow notices his brother's desperation, realizing he's attacking blindly without strategy. Meanwhile, the spectators are warned to stand back as the fight intensifies. Hollow, filled with determination, charges head-on despite Quen's sand wall. With a powerful swing, he breaks straight through the barrier, refusing to be stopped. Everyone watches in shock as Hollow smashes through Quen's massive sand wall. Emerging with unstoppable force, he charges directly at his brother, leaving Quen stunned and unprepared. Hollow is officially cut off from recognition within the family, his existence not to be made known to the world. While some dismiss him as useless, others quietly acknowledge his efforts. Left to prepare himself without support, Hollow faces isolation but also the chance to shape his own path. As Hollow receives praise for his sword talent despite lacking magic, Quen grows resentful. He feels overshadowed, questioning why someone defective is admired. Inside, jealousy burns. He believes himself superior, more valuable, yet watches Hollow gain recognition he thinks should belong to him. Hollow and Quen face each other in an intense duel. Both are exhausted, breathing heavily, their bodies drenched in sweat. Hollow stands with his sword at the ready, while Quen, overwhelmed, is caught off guard by Hollow's relentless advance. The clash reaches a breaking point, showing Hollow's determination against his brother's disbelief. After the fierce clash, both Hollow and Quen collapse from exhaustion. Their siblings and servants rush to their side, calling their names in worry. Quen recalls how this was the first time they truly quarreled as brothers. Their father steps forward, his expression firm, while Hollow, still catching his breath, looks toward him, awaiting judgment. Breathing heavily but smiling, Hollow expresses his joy from the duel, calling it fun despite the intensity. Nearby, his sword rests in the ground while the family looks on. Quen, still shaken, glances back at Hollow, conflicted, as a quiet moment of recognition passes between the two brothers. Hollow prepares to leave earlier than expected, reassuring his family that he's used to being on his own. His siblings ask him to write letters and visit if he comes to the imperial capital. Standing firm, Hollow announces his departure to his father and steps forward, ready to begin his journey independently. Hollow reflects on the mark imprinted on his left hand, which has driven his resolve to fight against the world. With determination burning inside him, he steps out confidently, sword at his side, ready to carve his own path forward. 3 days after leaving the mansion, Hollow and Kasumi travel toward the imperial capital of Ridnil. Despite having the option to remain in sword form, Kasumi chooses to walk alongside him, enjoying the journey together. Hollow and Kasumi continue their journey through Vermilia's lands, with Hollow keeping a low profile under a hood to avoid drawing attention. While he reflects on his promise not to use the Vermilia name, they notice a carriage up ahead, catching Hollow's attention as he expresses curiosity about the nearby villages. Hollow and Kasumi approach a group struggling with their carriage, which is stuck in a drain. The travelers explain that despite being magic users, their abilities fire and water aren't useful in this situation. As Hollow listens, Kasumi quietly observes, noticing how others find Hollow's presence endearing. Hollow offers to help lift the stuck carriage, surprising the group since he admits he cannot use magic. They laugh and doubt his ability, questioning how much he can actually lift. Despite their disbelief, Hollow confidently insists on his strength, while Kasumi supports him, encouraging the others to let him prove himself. Hollow positions himself at the carriage, counting down before exerting his strength. As he pushes with all his might, the onlookers are shocked to see the heavy carriage actually beginning to move. Hollow successfully lifts the carriage free, leaving everyone astonished. The travelers express their gratitude and praise his strength, though some can hardly believe it was possible through human effort alone. While traveling together, Hollow thanks the group for letting him ride along and explains his goal of becoming an adventurer. The group introduces themselves as Karen and Shion, adventurers who recently achieved the rank of Azure class, and mention they are headed to Ridwell to transfer their cargo. Kasumi learns that adventurers are ranked by colored tags, with Azure being a mid-level class among the 8 total ranks: white, red, azure, purple, rainbow, silver, gold, and platinum. Hollow is impressed by Karen and Shion's achievement of reaching Azure rank, while also realizing it's his first time meeting a water-type adventurer like Shion. During the carriage ride, Shion explains that while she is a water-type mage, her magic can sometimes be uncontrollable, which made her hesitate to help earlier. Karen mentions that she specializes in attack magic. Hollow excitedly discusses different magic types, fascinated by their uses in battle and defense, showing his deep interest in magic despite not being able to use it. Kasumi teases that Hollow is a magic nerd, while Karen urges others to understand his perspective. Hollow shares his determination to become an adventurer despite not being able to use magic, believing he can improve through the sword. Karen, however, questions if he's prepared for the reality of adventuring, reminding him that it requires the resolve to fight not just monsters, but people as well. She warns him that without such resolve, it isn't something he can truly accomplish. The caravan is suddenly attacked by bandits, throwing everyone into panic. While the others urge caution and tell Hollow to stay hidden, he pushes to take a look outside, determined not to sit idly by. Bandits surround the group, demanding the carriage in exchange for safety. With 13 enemies counted, the situation looks dire. Despite the threat, Karen and Shion prepare to fight back confidently, ready to show the bandits their strength. The bandits order the capture of the women, and the fight quickly escalates. Hollow witnesses a rare chant storm as multiple magic users prepare their spells at once, turning the battle into a chaotic clash of powerful magic. Hollow observes the fight and realizes the bandits are stronger than expected. Despite the adventurers' solid coordination, their enemies prove resilient. One of the girls unleashes fierce flames that overwhelm the attackers, making their power seem even greater. Hollow, however, knows the two won't manage alone and considers stepping in to help. As the adventurers unleash their full strength without holding back, Hollow reflects on Karen's earlier words. He realizes he has never truly fought with the intent to cut someone down, only sparring in practice. Unlike the others, he has yet to find the resolve needed to fight for real. During the battle, Shion is caught off guard by a powerful ice magic attack. A notorious bandit named Oz Quartz, known for his A-class bounty, steps forward. Amused and confident, he declares his intent to join the fight, showing no hesitation in targeting his new opponents. Shion and Karen unleash a coordinated assault, combining ice and flame magic to overwhelm Oz Quartz. Their spells create a powerful barrage that disperses his flames and traps him in ice, preventing his escape. Despite his resilience, the synchronized attacks push him to the edge, showing the strength of their teamwork. Oz Quartz counters with a thunder attack, boasting that another strike would immobilize his opponent forever. In the midst of the chaos, Hollow is urged to make a decision quickly. Pushed by determination and Kasumi's encouragement, he steels himself, ready to give everything in the fight alongside his companions. In the heat of battle, Karen is struck down by a powerful blow, leaving everyone shocked. Hollow, filled with determination, rushes forward with his sword, ready to face the enemy head-on and protect his companions. Hollow recalls Kasumi's support and fully resolves himself to fight. He decides that what matters is not whether he cuts someone, but why he chooses to swing his sword, embracing his decision with determination. Hollow leaps high into the air as the bandits order his death. Mid-air, he notices an attack from above and warns others, just as several bandits are struck down, surprising everyone. Hollow unleashes powerful wind attacks mid-air, slicing through enemies with precision. The bandits are shocked by his overwhelming strength and speed as he cuts them down effortlessly. Hollow deflects the ice bullets with his sword, astonishing the enemy with his reaction speed. The The bandit leader is shocked that someone could counter such an attack and angrily prepares to strike back. The bandit leader unleashes a powerful thunder attack, causing a massive explosion. Hollow is caught in the blast, while Karen and Shion scream his name in shock and fear. Despite the devastating thunder attack, Hollow charges forward with determination, shocking the bandit leader who cannot believe he is still able to move. Hollow strikes down the bandit leader with a powerful blow, ending the fight. The remaining enemies collapse, defeated. Exhausted but relieved, Hollow smiles as the travelers thank him, while the battlefield falls silent. Hollow treats the captured bandit's wounds, ensuring he survives until they reach Ridwell. Karen and Shion express frustration about helping enemies, but ultimately remind Hollow to be more careful next time. Hollow agrees, looking a bit sheepish. Hollow admits he's still naive, but reaffirms his resolve to keep wielding his sword and moving forward. The group is soon informed they are close to Ridwell, and Karen and Shion reassure him not to worry about them. Hollow and his companions finally arrive at Ridwell. From the carriage, they marvel at the massive cityscape before them, excited and amazed by its size and grandeur. Hollow explores the bustling city, amazed by the variety of people, merchants, and ingredients he has never seen before. Karen calls him to join them as they head to the guild to turn in the captured bandits, asking if he's coming along. At the guild, they confirm that the captured man is Oz Quartz, leader of the Oz bandits, with an A-class bounty. The guild takes him into custody and offers to pay the bounty, impressed that Karen and Shion managed to capture him alive. They receive 60 gold coins for the bounty. Karen insists on splitting it, giving Hollow 40% as his share, despite the guild's rules. Hollow hesitates but accepts, realizing it's the first time he has truly earned money on his own. Karen and Shion thank Hollow, admitting they might have died without his help. Hollow quietly acknowledges their words, looking reflective as he walks away. The guild receptionist asks why the bounty was given to Hollow. Karen hesitates, but Shion proudly explains that Hollow was the one who defeated the Oz bandits. Everyone nearby is shocked by the revelation. While Hollow completes the application for the adventurer exam, the guild hall is lively with news of the Oz bandits' capture. A girl firmly states that she does not wish to be an adventurer because she is a demon hunter. Hollow announces that he has signed up to become an adventurer as well. Karen and Shion are glad about the timing and suggest starting right away, offering to take Hollow and the girl to a good place to test their abilities. Hollow reflects that things have gone smoothly thanks to Karen and Shion. Since the adventurer exam will take place in a dungeon after a 3-day camp, he suggests getting equipment for the test. As they shop, a girl bumps into them, startling everyone. Hollow realizes the girl who bumped into them is the same one he saw at the registration counter. She apologizes, saying she wasn't paying attention. He notes that she's also taking the adventurer exam. As she leaves, Kasumi calls him to continue shopping, and Hollow agrees but glances back at the girl before following. Kasumi finds Hollow's adventurer tag and returns it, saving him from losing it. Relieved, Hollow thanks her. The girl who bumped into them suddenly asks Hollow's age, and he replies that he is 14. Kasumi explains that the adventurer entrance exam in this country is far stricter than in others, due to its history of legendary adventurers. Because of this, the demand and expectations for competent adventurers are much higher. Kasumi explains that becoming an adventurer in this country is highly competitive, with greater rewards but also higher risks, including the chance of dying during the exam. She advises Hollow to be prepared and serious if he truly wants to pursue this path, showing she is simply looking out for him. Kasumi reassures Hollow about his worth, and after preparing for the exam, the day of the test arrives. Hollow stands determined and excited as the participants are called to step forward. The examinees are led through stone corridors beneath the guild and enter a massive underground dungeon known as the Forest of the Abyss, where the adventurer exam will take place. The exam begins, set to last up to 3 days. The participants are called forward by number and divided into groups. Hollow is assigned to the Ignis group, joining other examinees, including the girl he noticed earlier. The examiners announce the tasks for each group. Group Terra must gather scarlet crystals. Group Ventus must find deep earth crab eggs. Group Aqua must retrieve the forest keeper's binoculars, and Hollow's group, Ignis, is assigned to collect beast mushrooms. The participants are told that no further questions about the exam will be answered. The participants try asking questions about the rules, but the examiners refuse to give details. Realizing the test is about how they think and act, they prepare to start. One of the members, Wood One, suggests they introduce themselves and encourages everyone to work together as a team. Hollow introduces himself to the group. A loud and energetic boy named Kai calls himself the Wind God and declares Hollow his rival, demanding everyone remember his name. The others react with mixed feelings, some amused and others skeptical of his self-given title. Cecilia makes it clear she has no interest in teamwork. Woodhound admits this is his 4th time taking the exam, showing how challenging it is, but he stays optimistic, saying his experience will benefit the whole group. Cecilia refuses to cooperate, saying she'll work alone but will buy information if needed. Hollow analyzes the situation, thinking about the rarity of their objective. Woodhound decides to join Hollow, willing to work together despite the tension. Hollow points out they don't know how many mushrooms they need and might face others trying to steal them. He stresses that teamwork and peaceful cooperation are crucial right now. Kai insists that being on the same team means they are rivals, no matter what. The group decides to split up for now, wishing each other luck. Hollow and his companion walk through the plant-based cave, noticing its maze-like structure and how eerie it becomes at night. They wonder how mushrooms survive without sunlight, and conclude that the dungeon must have areas connected to the outside. Believing the mushrooms should be near such places, they decide to search for spots where sunlight reaches in. They spend the day searching the forest but find nothing, growing tired as the sun sets. Realizing they're just wandering aimlessly, they decide to stop for the day and return to the campsite. They arrive at an underground lake that serves as a water source, noticing it's well lit and a common gathering spot. The girl calmly collects water while the boy sits nearby, resting. As the girl collects water, a massive creature suddenly emerges from the lake with its jaws wide open, ready to attack, catching everyone off guard. Kasumi leaps into action, pulling the girl out of danger as the monster crashes down. She prepares her weapon, ready to fight back against the threat. Hollow and the others check on Kasumi and thank her for saving them. Hollow praises her water magic that knocked the creature away. She downplays her efforts, calling them basic skills. Hollow then suggests she join them for dinner, revealing they plan to cook and eat the giant fish she defeated, surprising her. While sharing a meal, Hollow reminds Cecilia that they agreed to work together. She clarifies that she doesn't mind cooperating with others. Hollow explains that he and Kasumi entered the exam to take quests together, but worries that since Kasumi isn't officially registered, it might cause trouble and risk his failure if discovered. Hollow thanks Cecilia for helping Kasumi and points out that, despite preferring to work alone, she understands people well. He acknowledges that she was strict with him at first, but likely out of concern. Kasumi teases Cecilia, calling her surprisingly considerate, leaving Cecilia momentarily flustered and thoughtful. Cecilia reveals that she once had a younger brother, who would have been around Hollow's age. She recalls that when she was about 10, demons attacked, killing everyone except her, including her brother. The memory brings a somber and heavy atmosphere to the group. Cecilia explains that after losing her family, she was taken in by an orphanage deep in the woods. Even there, she kept to herself, finding it hard to socialize since she barely knew her family growing up. Over time, she became independent and was driven by a single purpose to kill demons. Cecilia reveals her resolve, saying she wants to prevent others from experiencing the same pain she did. She declares her intent to kill any demon that harms others, and explains she doesn't care about fame or money, she only wants to help people. This is why she chose to become an adventurer. As night falls, glowing stones light up the forest, surprising everyone. Cecilia excitedly identifies them as night stones, and they all take in the magical scenery. Hollow reflects quietly, realizing that everyone else has clear reasons to become adventurers. Lying down, he admits to himself that he is still just searching for what he can do. As dawn approaches and the nightstones fade, Hollow wakes up and talks with Cecilia. She prepares to leave, thanking him for the help. Hollow smiles and wishes her to stay safe, asking her to pass the message to Kasumi as well. The next morning, Hollow and Kasumi are determined to find what they need for the exam. Suddenly, they hear Cecilia's voice calling for help. Alarmed, they rush to find her, worried something bad might have happened. Hollow and Kasumi arrive to find Cecilia kneeling beside Kai, who is unconscious and badly injured. Hollow is shocked and yells his name, while Kasumi demands to know what happened. The situation is tense, as they realize something serious attacked him. Cecilia examines Kai's injuries and recognizes the wounds as demon attacks. She urgently warns everyone that a furious demon is nearby, putting the group on high alert. Guy suddenly regains consciousness, coughing up blood. Cecilia and the others act quickly. She asks Kasumi to fetch her supplies while ordering an emergency flare to be used to call for help, urgently trying to stop the bleeding. Reinforcements arrive and check on Guy, reminding everyone to stay safe during the exam. The group is relieved, no demons appeared, but they discover piles of bones, realizing this is where a demon feeds. Cecilia urges them to leave the area immediately. Hollow encourages the group to stay together and move forward cautiously, reminding them of the danger around. Cecilia agrees, and they decide to investigate a new area as a team, carefully advancing through the dark forest. Hollow finds Guy's bag on the ground and notices demon tracks nearby. He recalls that Guy's injuries looked like they came from above, not just from the demon's attack, suggesting something might have been watching or targeting them from higher ground. Hollow examines the ground and deduces that whoever attacked Guy must have retreated further inside. He notices strange tracks resembling plant roots, which seems unusual for this place, hinting that the attacker might not be a typical creature but something plant-like. They discover that the glowing object is an illumination plant, a phenomenon found only in caves with special monsters. The damp rock nearby has started growing mushrooms. Hollow and Cecilia get excited, realizing these are monster tracks, and decide to search further, convinced there must be more clues around. Hollow finds freshly picked mushrooms and wonders if Guy was the one who gathered them, since none were in his bag. Nearby, Cecilia spots more monster tracks, enough for 2 shares. They soon discover a creature covered in thick fur, realizing they are close to their target. Hollow suggests heading back since the demon's nest is nearby, but first offers to fetch water. Cecilia reacts surprised about a nearby water source, and Kasumi decides to accompany Hollow, joking about needing the toilet. Hollow clarifies he's just going for water. They head toward the lake, where Hollow kneels to fill the container. Hollow finds Woodwan, relieved that he's safe. Woodwan insists they leave quickly, saying it's a demon's nest and too dangerous to stay. Hollow notices Woodwan's wounds and realizes something must have happened to both him and Guy since entering. Hollow observes Woodwan's wounds and points out they aren't from a demon but from wind magic. Woodwan nervously denies it, insisting Hollow must be mistaken, but Hollow confidently states that he can tell because of his physical condition that makes him resistant to magic. Woodwan reveals with a sinister smile that the wounds were self-inflicted. He demands Hollow hand over the monster tracks, mocking him for being unarmed and warning that fighting someone with a wand would be foolish. Woodwan grabs Hollow, but the others shout for him to let go. Hollow accuses Woodwan of attacking Guy, explaining that the wind magic traces on Guy's back prove it wasn't a demon's doing and that his fall wasn't an accident. Woodwan panics and begs for forgiveness, saying he only wanted to negotiate. He offers to buy the mushrooms for gold, but Kai angrily refuses, calling him a failure for repeatedly taking the exam and telling him to leave if he won't try harder. Woodwan breaks down, shouting that he truly wishes he could go back, and that becoming an adventurer is his only way. Kai coldly tells him to give up, while Woodwan realizes he should have taken action from the beginning and reaches for his weapon, seemingly ready to fight. Woodwan shouts in frustration, justifying his actions by saying he only picked up mushrooms that had fallen, and that Guy's fall into the monster cave was just bad luck. He declares himself a battle mage, and claims the exam should test strength, not gathering skills, screaming that the situation is unfair. Cecilia accuses Woodwan of knowing Guy fell into a monster's nest. Woodwan shouts that Guy's mushrooms were fake, and claims the group must have the real ones. The revelation shocks Hollow and the others, with Kasumi quietly examining a single mushroom and thinking about the situation. Cecilia begins casting a powerful spell, multiple magic circles forming around her as her emotions flare. She remembers the tragedy of her brother's death, which fuels her determination. Hollow and Kasumi look on in shock as Cecilia's magic builds up, preparing for what comes next. Cecilia unleashes her spell, trapping Woodwan inside a prison of water. Kasumi panics, warning her that Hollow could get hurt if this continues. Cecilia stays focused, keeping Kasumi back while she controls the spell, her anger and determination driving her actions. Woodwan tries to escape by leaping away, but Cecilia casts another water jail to trap him mid-air. Thinking quickly, Woodwan unleashes a wind edge spell, slicing through the water prison to break free. Woodwan uses aerial broken, propelling himself through the air to escape. He lands and keeps running, but Cecilia, furious and determined, shouts that he won't get away as she prepares to chase him down. Cecilia traps Woodwan in a massive water spell, shouting that she will never forgive someone who throws others into danger with monsters. Woodwan struggles to breathe as he begins drowning inside the water sphere. Cecilia refuses to stop her attack, furious that Woodwan endangered an already injured person. Hollow yells for her to stop, warning that Woodone will die if she continues, but Cecilia's anger keeps driving her magic. Kasumi steps forward despite the danger, insisting Cecilia stop before anyone else gets hurt. Hollow shouts for Kasumi to get back, worried she will be injured, but Cecilia, still angry, tells Kasumi she's in the way. A mysterious light shines again, surprising everyone. Hollow raises his hand, revealing a glowing mark on his palm, and firmly orders Cecilia not to kill the man. Hollow holds Cecilia's staff and asks her to remember something important. Her magic begins to fade, leaving her surprised. Hollow then asks what she promised herself. Hollow stares closely at Cecilia, reminding her of her promise to become someone who saves people. He smiles and asks if she wasn't the one who said that. Cecilia is visibly moved by his words. Woodone coughs and struggles to breathe after being released. Hollow steps forward, stopping him from acting further and assuring that Guy is still alive. Suddenly, Hollow warns Woodone about something approaching from behind. Woodone senses something behind him and turns to find a massive wolf-like creature sniffing him. Before he can react, the beast opens its jaws wide and lunges at him, cutting off his desperate cry for help. Hollow urgently calls Kasumi, who rushes to his side. He grabs his sword, determined, and declares they are going to save Woodone together. Cecilia is shocked as Kasumi transforms into a beast-like form. Hollow charges forward to save Woodone, using the wet, slippery ground from earlier water magic to gain momentum in his attack. Hollow struggles to stay on his feet on the slippery ground while Kasumi, in her beast form, attacks fiercely. He tries to dash back into the fight, urging Woodone to get up and not lose consciousness at such a critical moment. Kasumi warns Hollow to stay away from Woodone as the beast threatens to attack. Cecilia quickly casts a barrier to shield Woodone, taking charge of protecting him while Hollow prepares to face the monster head-on. Cecilia steels herself, declaring it her duty as she protects Woodone. The monster charges forward while Hollow, determined, prepares to strike back. Hollow leaps forward with fierce determination, aiming his attack directly at the charging monster, ready to finish the fight. Hollow lands his attack with precision, slicing cleanly through the monster. The beast collapses, defeated, as Hollow stays alert, ready for any more threats. Cecilia and Kasumi celebrate their victory over the monster. Hollow reminds them he was part of the fight too, making sure to be included in their moment of triumph. After the battle, they discover a strange mushroom on the monster's back. Later, they learn it's a rare monster mushroom considered a delicacy, though some hesitate to eat it, finding the idea unsettling. They are informed that Woodone failed the test again and can no longer become an adventurer after violating its ideals. Hollow and Cecilia, however, receive their adventurer tags, which will grant them access to many opportunities going forward. Hollow and Cecilia receive their white adventurer tags and are told that with effort, they can change them into any color they wish. Overjoyed, they celebrate becoming official adventurers, proud of taking their first big step. After becoming adventurers, Hollow invites Cecilia to eat together. She shares rumors about a dangerous figure known as the Corroded Magic Knight, a killer seeking magic swords, whose blade can supposedly melt anyone it touches. Cecilia warns Hollow not to let Kasumi transform into a sword in front of others next time, hinting at the danger of being discovered. Cecilia reflects on how she once thought magic swords turning into humans were just myths, but now realizes Kasumi might be one of the rarest existences ever. Hollow listens, clearly affected by the weight of her words and the implication of Kasumi's uniqueness. Hollow quickly drives away the invading rabbits, astonishing everyone with how fast he resolves the problem. The villagers thank him, saying they thought they were doomed after the outbreak, but are impressed by his efficiency. Hollow suggests growing herbs to keep harmful animals away, continuing to be helpful to the village. Hollow continues doing daily small jobs as part of the white class. Like a handyman, he reflects that these tasks feel like sword practice. The story explains the adventurer ranking system. Starting at white class, adventurers take small, low-risk jobs to build trust and move up through red, azure, purple, rainbow, silver, and eventually gold class, where the most prestigious requests await. Hollow receives his payment for the completed mission and is told he's close to reaching red class. He feels motivated to keep working hard. Others at the guild notice his frequent presence and comment on how active he's been. Hollow and his companion decide to take on more jobs to reach promotion and celebrate their progress later. Cecilia shows up and greets Hollow, asking how he's been. Hollow shares that he and Kasumi have been steadily building their achievements and thanks Cecilia for introducing him to Karen and her friend, as he's been learning from how they handle missions. Others talk about Hollow being the youngest adventurer ever and praise his skills and honesty, finding him admirable. Hollow asks if these are the quests Cecilia wants to pick up. She confirms, explaining that now that they're nearly in the red class, she wants to attempt a more challenging quest, exterminating an orc hideout, and eventually the general orc. Hollow points out that it requires a party of red class adventurers and suggests she'd work well, supporting a team with Karen and Shion, forming a balanced party. Cecilia listens seriously, taking his words to heart. Cecilia gets flustered, blaming Hollow for putting her on the spot. She says she'd consider joining if invited, but doesn't feel it's her place to decide. Hollow admits he hasn't thought about joining either, explaining that since he can't use magic, he doubts any party would want someone like him. Kasumi and Karen encourage Hollow, telling him not to underestimate himself, and reminding him that his sword skills are strong even without magic. Later, the group discusses recent rumors of a new magic sword hunter. They hear that this mysterious knight uses strange magic, and that anyone cut by her blade will slowly disintegrate until nothing is left. The group talks about the dangerous, rotting magic knight, warning each other to stay cautious. Kasumi is carefree about the situation, which worries the others. They find it hard to imagine someone so beautiful turning into a deadly sword, leaving a mix of concern and lightheartedness in the air. Hollow thanks Cecilia and parts ways with her. Then, eager to keep working, he heads out with Kasumi. Together they fight slimes, gather vegetables, and complete more tasks, continuing their journey as adventurers. Hollow is officially promoted to Red Class, becoming the youngest ever to reach that rank. Excited, he immediately wants to check out the new commissions available, while his companions suggest celebrating his achievement. The protagonist blocks a sudden attack, reacting with surprise. After regaining composure, he adjusts his clothes and walks away. Downstairs, two girls notice him as he heads toward them. The protagonist is caught off guard by an intimidating figure who taunts him. In the next moment, the attacker swiftly lands a powerful hit, leaving the protagonist stunned. The protagonist quickly counters and strikes back, knocking the attacker down. Another man rushes to calm the situation, explaining they meant no harm. The group tries to reassure the protagonist, with one person even offering candy to ease the tension while scolding the attacker for his reckless behavior. As the tension eases, the group finally explains their purpose. The attacker enthusiastically invites the protagonist to join their party, leaving him shocked and confused by the sudden request. The group formally introduces themselves. Shia explains her role as the rear guard and healer. Rise proudly states he is a fire-type attacker and the leader, and Baron describes himself as an earth-type explorer. They all emphasize that they are red-class adventurers. Hollow introduces himself as a swordsman, and Shia presents Kasumi, who isn't an adventurer but is Hollow's partner. The group explains their goal. They want to recruit Hollow to help them with a mission to eliminate orcs in the western forest near Ridwell. They explain that the mission requires 4 red-class adventurers, and completing it would let them rank up to Azure class. Hollow questions why they specifically chose him, and they reveal it's because they are genuinely interested in him. They explain that Hollow's dedication at the guild and his constant completion of commissions impressed everyone, even the staff. After observing him for several days, they concluded he is someone they could truly rely on if he joined their party. Hollow thanks them for the invitation but hesitates, explaining that he can't use magic and is only capable of fighting with a sword. The group listens as he shares his limitation. Rise enthusiastically tells Hollow he's perfect for their team. He explains that each member has their own shortcomings. Shia can't handle medicine despite her background, and Baron, though strong, can't use attack magic, making Hollow's sword skills exactly what they need. Rise admits he's terrible at reading and writing, despite being a priest's son, and that all of them have their own weaknesses. They were rejected by their village but chose to become adventurers. He reassures Hollow that his lack of magic doesn't matter, promising they'll support each other by covering for one another's weaknesses. The group reaches the Orc's Den, a massive, multi-layered dungeon. As they advance deeper, they are shocked to find an overwhelming number of orcs waiting for them inside. The group realizes they must clear every layer of the dungeon to reach the general orc. As they fight their way upward, the orcs keep coming in waves. Nearing the top, they call for a defensive wall to be created so they can retreat safely. Hollow suggests using Rise's flames to wipe out the orcs, but Rise warns it's too dangerous in a confined space and would burn them as well. With retreat being risky due to more orcs waiting above, Hollow decides they have no choice but to take the risk. Hollow decides to act alone and tells the group to go on without him. He draws the orcs' attention by calling out to them, taunting them as they turn their focus toward him. Hollow realizes the risk of fighting so many orcs, but decides to hold them off to buy the others time to escape. He plans to create a narrow path so he can face them one at a time, turning it into a series of one-on-one battles. Determined, he readies himself to fight. As Hollow braces for battle, his allies unexpectedly jump in to support him. Shia summons a whirlwind. Baron casts ground armor on Hollow for protection, and Rise unleashes a powerful dragon's breath attack, turning the fight in their favor. The flames engulf the battlefield, burning through the orcs. Hollow struggles as the heat seeps through his armor, realizing the ground armor was meant to let him withstand the fire. Rise urges him to retreat quickly, while Shia warns that the flames are becoming too intense to maintain. After the flames die down, the group manages to reach the top of the dungeon. Exhausted but relieved, they check on each other's condition. Rise is drained but safe. Shia offers to prepare medicine, and Baron notes that they acted just in time, as staying longer could have been fatal. Hollow is frustrated but moved by their reckless teamwork. After catching their breath, Rise angrily scolds Hollow for acting recklessly and trying to face the orcs alone. Hollow insists it wasn't like that, but Rise reminds him he's the party leader and never agreed to such a plan, frustrated that Hollow risked himself without trusting the group. Rise tells Hollow that his self-sacrificing actions show a lack of trust in the team. Baron reassures him with a pat on the head, and Hollow quietly agrees. Rise firmly warns him not to try something like that again if he truly sees them as comrades. They discuss a jeweler who crafts magic rings. It's explained that these rings act as vessels for mana, and through them, people were first able to explore the domain of magic. It is revealed that the jeweler crafts rings from mana stones, forming the very foundation of society's magic system. The former royal court jeweler, known as the legendary jeweler, mysteriously disappeared, leaving everything to their apprentice. A noble acknowledges that the jeweler has recently resurfaced and is in negotiations with House Mersenne to return to the royal workshop. He notes how few people know of this information and praises the protagonist for having skilled subordinates before turning the conversation back to the negotiations. The protagonist asks for permission to personally handle the negotiations with the jeweler. When questioned why, he explains that he needs the jeweler's craftsmanship to prepare for his upcoming duel with his brother Leo, emphasizing how the jeweler's skill could greatly affect the result. The noble acknowledges that they currently control the negotiations and could choose who leads them. The protagonist admits frankly that he cannot trust the noble with this task, implying he must take responsibility himself. Charlotte reacts emotionally to the conversation, but her father calms her. He speaks to Prince Alfred, praising Charlotte's rare talent and describing her as their precious and irreplaceable daughter. He explains that they entrusted her role to the royal family out of complete faith in them. Charlotte's father reveals that their trust in the royal family was once betrayed, which left him unable to completely trust them again. The weight of his words makes the atmosphere tense. As he expresses his lingering doubts, Duke Mersenne reflects on his loyalty to the royal family and acknowledges his daughter's unwavering faith in them despite past betrayals. He then directly asks Prince Alfred how, as a royal, he intends to respond to that trust. Prince Alfred admits that gaining their trust will be difficult, calling himself the cursed child and acknowledging his reputation as a villain. When asked if he will yield, he confidently refuses with a determined grin. Prince Alfred reveals a shining ring, shocking everyone present. Duke Mersenne recognizes it as the cross ring, an important treasure of the royal family, leaving them surprised that Alfred possesses it. Alfred casually offers the cross ring as collateral, causing Charlotte and her companion to panic. When asked what he plans to do, Alfred explains that if they ever doubt his intentions towards Charlotte, they are free to use the ring as they wish, emphasizing its immense value as a high-grade magic ring with powerful spirits inside. Alfred expresses trust in Duke Mersenne's honesty, saying he believes he wouldn't lie out of greed for the cross ring. The Duke, moved by this faith, agrees to Alfred's request, allowing him to take charge of the negotiations. The Duke promises to safeguard the ring responsibly, but asks if Alfred can still fulfill his royal duties without it. Alfred confidently replies that he has another plan prepared, revealing he has thought ahead for this situation. The Duke acknowledges Alfred's foresight. Alfred formally requests to take over negotiations with the legendary jeweler from House Mersenne. The Duke accepts with a smile, agreeing to let him handle the matter, ending the scene on a confident and determined note.